Hey neighbor, I'm Greg with growhouse.com. We're going to do a garden tour today here at our headquarters. We may ease through the warehouse, see what's going on there, and if we're sneaky, maybe we catch Mama Hoss down in the Portage Garden because she's got it looking great. And I want to show you all the really neat things she's got going on down there. Well, my first plot here is my watermelon plot. I'm growing a new type of seedless watermelon here, and every third plant in here is a seeded type as my pollinator. I'm using Sweetie Pie, which is a great little watermelon. It's a smaller watermelon for my pollinator in here. And you can look in here, you can say, Greg, man, you got these things planted way too tight. And yes, I do. I'm always doing some trial and doing some different things and just seeing how much I can produce on a small area. Normally, I wouldn't recommend them to be planted this close. I got them planted a foot apart on about a 5 or 6 foot row here, and that's a little too tight. But I'm just gonna see with the correct amount of water, because I got drip tape underneath there, and all the fertilizer they need, because I can push it through that drip tape, just what I can push my limits as far as density on watermelon plants for a small area, just to see how much we can produce and see if we can up it some. Maybe a failure, may not. I'm always doing something crazy like this, trying to push the limits, but that's what I'm doing this year on this right here on these watermelons. Now, one thing, if you've grown watermelons before, they're real susceptible to disease. And I just walked out here 3 or 4 days ago one afternoon and I saw this right here and it just struck me. I said, man, I got some problems, I got to address it. So immediately I went and got some liquid copper and sprayed on that. And I've got new growth flushing out now. And the new growth right here looks to be okay, but I just want to show y'all, when you get disease, you're never going to cure these leaves right here. This black spot on this leaf is never going to go away. What we want to do with any kind of disease spray program or application is we want to protect that new growth that shoots it out from that disease, get on it. And basically what you want to do is you want to grow your way out of it. Well, the greenhouse is getting kind of empty. We're kind of clearing things out. It's getting past the season for that. Do have some roselle growing in here that we're going to get planted in a few days. And I got some beautiful basils here I was sent from the UK that we're trialing out here. Got a purple one right there. Look at that, isn't it pretty? And then we got a variety right here called Greg's Basil. We had to try that one. It's turning out to be pretty good. But we're trialing these basils out to see if they're going to be a right fit for you. We don't have a lot of other trial stuff going on here. We kind of already moved it out into the field. A little bit of leftover stuff in here, and I'll probably clean this up in the next couple of weeks. Now, one thing I'll do if I have some extra plants, and right here I had some extra cayenne pepper plants, is I like to take the small root pouches, fill them up, and plant one in there. Now, I like to use plants that's going to be good for container growing, that's not going to get out of whack or too big. And if I got new gardeners that come by that I'm giving a tour, or somebody that's really interested, but they just unsure themselves, never grown a lot, I like to give them one of these, because when I pot these, I go ahead and mix the complete organic up in there. So there's not a whole lot to do this right here, except just keep it wet, keep it watered good. And they normally can be successful growing something like a nice pepper plant right here. It's just something I do if I got some extra plants around. I just love to give away stuff, especially people that's interested or trying to get started gardening. Now, this is something pretty neat that most of y'all probably should be doing. So I take my last year's sweet potatoes and I hold me over some of the bigger, best ones, and I use them for my seed potatoes for the next spring. I took this 100-gallon root pouch right here and I just lined it with sweet potatoes underneath there, and I covered it with about this much soil. And you can see I got plants coming through. They're starting to pop through everywhere. Now, I can do two things. I can clip these off and root them, or I can simply pull these slips off right here, and you would be amazed at how many sweet potato plants I get off this 100-gallon root pouch right here. I'll get more than enough for me to plant and to share with my friends and neighbors. It's an easy way to be sustainable and to not have to buy sweet potato plants every year, is to keep those big best seed ones back and plant them and make your own plants. This is my sweet corn plot here, and yes, my first planting rotted off. I didn't get a decent stand, heck, maybe 25%. So I had to come in here and replant this right here, and I used a different variety. I used Honey Select, planted it last Friday. Today's Thursday, and 6 days we got it coming up. The point of the matter is, I planted it at the right time. I think I planted my first crop when it was a little too cool, and I probably overwatered it a little bit, and it rotted. The majority of them rotted off in there. But with this crop right here, looks like I got a great stand. Honey Select is those yellow, super sweet. It's a really sweet variety. I love growing it. I grow it about every 4 or 5 years. It's not a starchy type corn. It is a super sweet, but it is delicious. This right here is a seed crop, Reverend Taylor Climbing Butterbean. This was a variety that was gifted to us from a friend over in Alabama 3 or 4 years ago. We actually sold out of them, and I'm having to grow another seed crop using these cow panels right here, and you'll be surprised how much seed we'll get off this little bitty plot here. Now, I've used a Horta Nova netting before, and it works fine. I just happen to have cow panels this year, so I put the cow panels up. We'll grow these all through the spring, and these things will struggle come summertime in the dire heat, July and August, but they'll stay alive. We'll spray them, clean them up, keep them watered, and they'll put on one heck of a crop going in the fall. That's what I love about these running butterbeans. You get 2 crops off one plant, a good spring crop and a great fall crop there. And we're gonna make a good seed crop here, so maybe we'll have enough seed to last for a while. This is a running butterbean. It's not like the Christmas lima. It's not a big butterbean. It's a regular sized butterbean, but it is a speckled butterbean, which is kind of unusual there. But this one does extremely well down here in the south, and we're growing a good seed crop this year. Maybe get our supplies up. We'll have enough seed for you for a while. Well, this is my little 20 by 20 spot. Now, use this to show people just how much you can grow off a small area right here. I got 3 raised beds in here, and then the rest of it we do in-ground planting. We got squash galore coming along, and they're putting on blooms, and we're gonna have summer squash in a few days. We got lettuce right there, a bunch of lettuce in one of those little raised beds. We got carrots coming along. We got a bumper crop of spinach. We've got cucumbers. We've got eggplants. We got more cucumbers, and we got rattlesnake pole bean growing off just a 20 by 20 area. It's amazing how much you can produce off just a small area. Now, this is our lazy garden area where we have the irrigation underneath it, the tubing underneath it. You can see here, we have pulled up our lazy garden kit and folded it up. And what we did is we come in here and we put a good layer of compost down. We're gonna put some fertilizer down. We're gonna put our lazy garden back in. We didn't even take up the irrigation, left the irrigation in place. So this right here is a 15 to 30 minute job at the most. We'll put the lazy garden back in, staple it back down, and we're gonna use this area right here to grow our roselle this year. In this plot here, we got 3 rows of birdhouse gourds. I love growing gourds every year, and I normally switch it up and grow some kind of different gourd every year. This year, it's birdhouse gourds. And then on the other side of there, we got a couple rows of a new variety of sunflowers that we're trying out. And right here, folks, is our elephant garlic. This is the garlic of the South right here. This is the one that we're so successful growing. Now, on elephant garlic, it normally runs every year about 2 weeks later than our onion harvest. So when we harvest our onions, which we're going to start today, in about 2 weeks, our elephant garlic will be ready. Made some pretty good this year. It's looking good. Big stalks on there. So we'll end up with a pretty good harvest here, but it's probably going to be around the 1st of May when we dig this up. Well, we got a good seed crop coming on our Alabama blue collards. You see these seed pods right here? We're going to give them a few more days, and they're going to dry out, continue to mature, make a little bigger seed there, and then we'll harvest these. You know, saving the seeds on collards is a lot easier than I ever thought it was. There's really not a whole lot to it. And you can look down through here. We're gonna have one heck of a crop on these Alabama blues. This is a great heirloom variety. Look at the color of that leaf right there. It does bolt a little sooner than some of our hybrid varieties, but I've been really impressed with the taste of these and how they grow here in the deep south. Well, you see these onions with these seed heads on right here. This is a variety of a multiplying onion Miss Louise at Turkey Hill Farms in Tallahassee gifted me. The variety is called Carolina. So we're trialing these out. We have a short row of them right there, and we're gonna test these out against our Tom onions and see what difference there are in them. So far, they've done really well. I got 3 days with no rain. I looked at the weather this morning. We got a pretty good forecast. So I'm gonna dig my Vidoras and let them cure out in the sun, because I just can't hardly take it anymore. Man, look at there. The majority of my vidors are that big right there or bigger. So I'm gonna get these on top of the ground today, let the sun start curing them out, sealing off that neck right there. I'm gonna leave my 10-15s a few more days, and my red Creoles, it may be 2 weeks before they're ready. But I'm gonna get these vidors out of the ground, make sure nothing happens to them, because, folks, and some monster sweet onions right there. I am so proud of this crop right here and this variety right here. I don't know anybody, any of the home gardeners that we have sold the vidors that wasn't successful with them. It's just an easy onion to grow. It makes a big onion sweet. It's got a lot of vigor to it. It's just one of my favorite varieties right there for the home gardener. Well, you know, we preach cover crops all the time, and this is a plot I got laying out this year, and I planted it in Superbee Phacelia. Now, this cover crop is going to serve two different purposes. It's going to keep my nutrients scavenged up. It's going to keep them in that nutrient cycle right there. It's going to keep my ground in place, but it is great for the pollinators. When this stuff gets this high and starts to bloom, boy, the bees love it. Native bees just come to it in droves right here. I love to walk out here when it's in full bloom and just be real quiet, watch all the bees work this Superbee Phacelia. Now, this crop here doesn't work when it gets really, really hot, but it's gonna work really good in the springtime, and it works good in the fall. Mama Hoss had a plot down there. She even overwintered and it did good. If it gets down below 20 degrees, it can be kind of iffy sometimes. Well, we gotta have a row of Irish potatoes here, and our potatoes are looking really good. And since this weather has warmed up a little bit, man, these things have jumped. Got them fertilized, got them healed, and they're in perfect shape, growing off good, haven't had any problems. But right aside here, folks, is my multiply onion plot here. We've had so much demand for these multiplying onions that we're going to increase the amount of them we grow. We got potato onions here, and we got our regular Tom multiplying onions growing in the same plot here. Now, these were dug and multiplied about 5 weeks ago. They could actually be dug and multiplied again now, and we'll do that if we have somewhere to put them. But our main thing this year is we're going to keep our multiplying onions going all during the summertime. Now, they're not going to thrive, and we got to have them on drip irrigation. But we're going to keep them alive and keep them going through the summertime, so when we hit that fall slot, October, these things will start thriving again and start multiplying. And I think that's going to be a better strategy than what we've done in the past, where we've dug them and put them in the barn and replanted every fall. Because we had such a loss last year with the ones we stored, they didn't make it to the fall. So this is a strategy. I've talked to some other people that they do, and we're going to try it this year. I've done it somewhat in the past, and they do stress a lot in the summer heat. But with the drip irrigation, I think we can keep them alive. And when it turns around and starts cooling off a little bit, they'll jump up and start thriving again. Well, Miss Leola here is packing asparagus, getting it out today. We just got a new shipment, our April shipment of asparagus, and that's what she's rolling up here. This variety right here is Mary Washington. We'll be shipping this for about, I don't know, a week and a half, 10 days, and we'll be shipping the middle of May again. This is the first year of us selling asparagus, but I've had asparagus in my garden for the last 15 years. It's a great thing to grow in the garden. Once you get this established, it's low maintenance, not a lot to do. And you just go out there and forage around and find you plenty for supper time. Well, this is a new little garden spot for us. We're trying to rotate around so we keep our disease pressure low. I've moved my tomatoes here to this new garden spot. Now, this row here, folks, is my Halcinators. I always plant my row of Halcinators because that's my staple variety. You can tell I use these shorter T-posts here because these Halcinators don't get that big. Oh, I don't know, what's that, 4 foot in the ground? That is going to be plenty enough for these determinate type Halcinators. However, what I did do different this year is I'm using 8-foot T-post on my indeterminate types. This row here is a mixture of new varieties that we're trialing out. There's a couple in there, ones we've grown before. But we're going to use these 8-foot ones here. In the past, we've had trouble with these things getting out of control on us up there at the top. We didn't have enough trellis to, so we're going to try that, try to do a better job keeping them Florida weaves or keeping them tied up. Now, I got down here the other day and got started a little bit with my Florida weave, but it's time for me to start with my Florida weave on these tomatoes right here. And for an old man, that first run down there is a little tough on the back. But once I get that first one, it's not too bad. But I'll probably get this done this afternoon. Well, I got 2 rows of beans here. I got a new variety, Navajo, which is a flat bush bean that I'm excited about. And we got a row of our green blaze that you're probably familiar with. You see here, I didn't get a real good stand. And the reason is these were untreated seeds. And these plants come up, as you can see right here, and they just died. Next year, we're going to move more toward fungicide treated seed because in these cool soils, we seem to have a lot of issues with these plants dying off right when they come up. Germinating is not the issue, but when they come out of that seed and start to emerge, disease jumps on them and they just don't fare well. So that's the reason we think we need to move more toward treated seeds for these cool soils. Going to get a lot better results than what I've got here. I got some skips in here and I really don't like that. Another row of summer squash down here. I got some patty pans, a half row of patty pans here. I normally don't plant a lot of those, but I plant some every year because I just love them. And then I got a row of red burgundy okra. And yes, folks, I preach to y'all, don't plant your okra too soon, but I transplanted this too soon and I lost about half of it and I had to come back here yesterday and fill in the skips there. Okra just does not like cool soils, and I seem to jump the gun on it every year trying to get ahead of myself, and I normally pay the price for it. But I think from here on out, our night temperatures is going to be in the high 50s, low 60s. Our daytime temperatures is going to be in the 70s and 80s. We should be fine going from here on. Well, there's Mama Hoss. We caught her in her garden. Let's check it out. She's got some pretty unique stuff growing down here. Some of it's a little different from what I grow, because that's just her preferences, but it's looking pretty good. Well, as you can see, she gardens a little different than I do. She grows a lot of herbs, a lot of flowers. I grow cover crops. She grows in raised beds. She grows in green stalks. I pretty much just grow in ground with a few raised beds. But flowers are a great addition to the garden here, and you do a good bit of companion planting.
I do a lot of companion planting. In this bed, we've got some aster, some marigolds, and then we've got some new peppers that you're trialing out. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting to see how these taste. They are jalapenos, but there's pumpkin spice, orange spice,
and lemon, if I'm not mistaken.
And lemon.
Yep.
So I've got 2 of each. Going to try all those out. Here we have an herb that's called feverfew. And the bloom on it is sort of like that of chamomile. It's really good for migraines, for inflammation, for fever. And what's so good about this is it's lasted, this is the 2nd year. It did not bloom the 1st year, but this is the 2nd year and it's putting on blooms.
Yeah, it's just loaded up.
This is also good for repelling insects.
Well, this, folks, is companion planting.
Here we have the marigolds and we have the cayenne pepper.
Mm-hmm. Raha.
That I've never grown before.
Raha cayenne, that's a good one.
Yeah. This is a new addition to the Portage Garden this year. It's some arbors, and I've got some climbing brown-eyed Susans that my vision is that it will grow all the way over.
Yeah, I forgot what company you bought these from, but I could tell you when they came in with the boxes, I was not excited about installing these things, and I put it off for a few days till I got cornered up and had to install them. Folks, it didn't take me no time at all, and I was really impressed by how easy they went up. We put them together in the shop and just brought them down here and measured off where we wanted to put them and pushed them into the ground. Worked out a lot better than what I was anticipating.
Here we have a hollyhock that volunteered. I have never had a hollyhock this huge. And
this early especially.
And this early. It is just a monster, and I decided to just let it stay here.
Yeah.
And it's actually going up the arbor. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it lasts.
And zinnias galore.
Zinnias galore. And I planted these zinnias in the greenhouse on March 6th.
And these are some of the unique kind. This is the...
All these are the lemon, the Queenie series.
The Queenie series, yep.
In here. And then in here I have the different colors, and I've got them striped I want it to kind of look like a flag.
Now you came in here yesterday and pinched the buds out of all these, and what that does, it makes these things sucker out from the bottom and keeps them being so leggy right there. If you'll pinch out, I know it's hard to do, but if you'll pinch out that first bud on those zinnias there, it causes them to have a lot more blooms on them, be a lot healthier plant than if you don't.
Now, if you're growing them for cut flowers, do you still do that?
You still do that because it'll make them have more blooms. A lot more blooms.
But they won't be as straight up.
They won't be as straight, but still you're better off to do that. You're better off to pinch, in my opinion, you're better off to pinch that top out and create a lot bushier plant than getting real tall and spindly. And your garden stalk's doing good this year.
Yeah, the green stalks.
Green stalk.
I like the green stalks for flowers. In this one, I've got some oregano, some parsley, and the green stalks came out this year with these trellises that just stick down in there. Kind of gives your plant some support. They also came out with these lids
To keep your water clean.
to keep your water clean, and I've got a bird nest starting in there.
Yes, you do.
And we used to have, and we may still do, a discount code with green stalk. It's just Hoss, all one word. But yeah, I fell in love with these, and I like to companion plant in the green stalk as well.
Well, this is something more folks should be growing in the garden, especially during the wintertime down here in the deep south, because celery loves the wintertime, the fall, the wintertime, if it doesn't get too cold in the springtime. These were planted in the fall and they overwintered, and look how beautiful they are. And we have really enjoyed being able to eat our homegrown celery. We just come out here and clip off what we need. Now this is about a 3 foot by 3 foot raised bed. That's really all 2 or 3 people need. You can grow a lot of celery in a little bitty area. This is really productive, easy to grow. I never thought I'd be growing celery in the garden, but man, I am a huge believer in this right here, and it's pretty too. So nice and green. I just love growing this the celery in the wintertime. We planted a small bed of turmeric right here, and I'm gonna dig it up right here. It's been planted, I don't know, probably 3 weeks. See those rhizomes right there? They're gonna sit there, they're gonna be fine, but they're gonna sit there in this soil right here till it warms up enough, probably around the end of May, and then it's gonna sprout and come up. And we normally make one heck of a crop of turmeric. Growing them in raised beds is a good way to do. Now turmeric can stand a little shade, so if you got an area that's a little bit shaded and you want to put your raised bed in or a container in where the big root pouches work as well and grow you some turmeric, it'd be a good use of that place there. But don't get disappointed if you plant your turmeric and it doesn't sprout up immediately. It's just going to sit there until it's time to come up, and then it's gonna come through there nice and pretty, makes really lush green foliage, grows all summer long, and we'll harvest this next year before the frost hits it. Well, you went ahead and dug your vidoras and let them cure out by the sun, and you're proud of your onion crop just like I am.
Yeah, they've been pulled this Saturday will be a week. I probably need to go ahead and put them up.
I think I looked at the weather this morning, we got 3 more days before any rain. So I'm gonna dig some of mine today. So I probably think you got a couple more days, but we don't want them to get wet.
Right.
And you've got some red Creoles over there. Now the red Creoles is a later maturing variety. They're not near the size yet. They may not get the size of these vidoras, I doubt they do. But it's gonna be a little bit before they're ready. I think in my garden, they're gonna be 2 weeks later than my vidoras.
And I'm gonna go behind these onions with some of the little birdie tomatoes. In this bed is another herb. It is actually bee balm. And it's kind of aggressive too, so you need to plant it in a container or a pot, and it comes back every year. So in a lot of these beds, because it is a potager garden, a kitchen garden, I've got things down here that come back and are kind of, don't require a lot of care. Also companion planted in here with the German white. And
German white garlic.
Yeah, and normally this doesn't do well here, but we had a lot of chill hours this year, so it's looking pretty good. And this garlic was planted in October also. And these straw flowers are just some that's came up on their own from previous planting.
Now this right here is something kind of unique to most of you. It's a dwarf sunflower. This variety is called Sun Gold here, and these things won't get very big at all. They get about this big and they bloom. These are wonderful for raised beds, containers, or borders right there. Easy to grow, and they grow off pretty quick. But there's been a lot of research and breeding done over the last few years on some of these dwarf varieties, and they just turn out really nice. And we can contain them in these small areas, and it gives people the opportunity that raised bed garden or container garden to be able to grow these sunflowers.
This is a bed of echinacea, and this is the third year with it. I started with probably 6 plants and have reseeded and have just filled up this bed. I cannot wait till I see all the blooms. I also have some ranunculus in here that come back from last year and some straw flowers that have come back. So this is going to be popping in about 2 weeks. And this is my elephant garlic, and this is the prettiest elephant garlic that I've ever grown. It is huge, and it was planted the 1st of October too also, and it's starting, it usually gets ready to pull about 2 weeks after your onions do, around the 1st of May, and I can tell it's getting ready because it's getting these seed pods up here on it. But usually when 2/3 of the leaves turn brown, it's ready to come up out of the ground, and you'll dry it sort of similar to what you do to the onions.
Well, we have a bed here in her garden that's underperforming. We got something going on here. Things just don't grow off in this plot right here. Everything else does extremely well, but we got something going on here. We don't know exactly what it is. Our pH is in line. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some good compost, and I'm gonna add a product called biochar. I ordered some off of Amazon, and we're gonna mix that in there. I got a hint there may be some contaminants or overload of nutrients in here causing the problem right here. So my hope is with the compost and the biochar, it's going to clean some of that up. And we do have any contaminants in there, that biochar is going to absorb it and take it away from our soil so that we can kind of straighten this situation out and get this one up to par to the rest of them. Now this is a little small bed of Tasty Bite cantaloupe here. I grew a big plot of these last year. Mama Hoss loved them. I don't eat cantaloupes, but she loves them. So she's growing her a small spot of them this year. These transplants were put in this last Saturday. They're just now starting to get a hold. It's not going to be a big bed of them, not going to make a lot, but we'll make a few of these Tasty Bites and she'll enjoy them. It's a small cantaloupe, but it's extremely flavorful and it's easy to grow.
Now this here is a bed of mini me's. They're a new type of cucumber. They're really small, they're great for snacking, really crisp. Now this right here is strawberry onions.
Well, she's got onions planted with strawberries. A lot of people down in Florida, especially seeded Florida, will call them strawberry onions that grow down there. It simply means they were grown in with the strawberries, but some people will argue that fact with you, but it is a short day onion is all it is, but it's grown in with the strawberries. Okay. Yep. We had to put some cover on because the birds was getting after our strawberries there. But they do make pretty good companion planting onions and strawberries.
One of the new things I'm trying this year is eucalyptus, and I'm doing it for my cut flowers. This variety here is called Silver Dollar, and it just smells oh so wonderful. So it's a totally new experiment. I'll keep you up to date on how it does.
Now these two spots right here are our native plants or our native pollinators in the Portage Garden. These are the only two spots that I take any ownership with down in Mama Hoss's garden. I do help her a little bit more down here in these pollinator areas because I just enjoy it so much. We got spiderwort here, which is a native plant here. We got a lot of native hibiscus in here. Mama Hoss loves them native hibiscus. Some friends of ours sent her some from Texas, and we also have picked up some seed pods next to the creek bed down there. We got lots of those growing, and just a multitude of different species in here. I planted a wildflower mix in here probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and a lot of those plants have survived in here and continue to thrive. Over here in this next bed over here is a native milkweed. I just planted this, I think a little over a year ago, and it's starting to come back. But I was amazed last year when the monarch butterflies came through. They just love this. I come out here one day just looking at the garden, and it was full of monarchs. that native milkweed was doing its thing, and it was so impressive to see that. Got a few other plants in here, but the whole point of these areas right here are to be pretty and be for the pollinators.
This here is my vine or my trellis for my passion flower. And I started this last year and I was really worried about it coming back, but it's come back in full force. Has these gorgeous purple flowers on it. And the Frutili butterfly loves this plant. And the caterpillars, this is the only thing it will eat. I have tried to rehome them, but when they come in here in a couple of months, they will just totally eat all this foliage, which is okay because it grows really fast and it'll come right back.
Now this is something I hadn't seen just a few years ago. It's a dwarf mulberry tree. I've seen regular mulberry trees for years. We've had neighbors that had them, but this is a dwarf one, so it doesn't get too big for us. We planted one in the Portage Garden, and it has loaded up with mulberries. Now, will the birds get them before we do? We'll wait and see because the birds love them. But I like it because it just doesn't get out of hand. A lot of the big mulberry trees get so big you can't harvest them all. So the thought process here is, first of all, it didn't take up a lot of room, but second of all, we're going to be able to harvest all of them because we're going to be able to get to them. Now, both of us have our own way of doing things, and we're a little bit hard-headed, so we have to have two different gardens. She's got to have her garden, and I got to have my garden. And she likes to grow different things than I do, and that's fine. That works well for us. Every afternoon, one of us is in our gardens. This is where we spend a lot of our Saturdays and Sundays if it's pretty outside. It's just what we do. We love growing things, and we love gardening, both of us. You know what? Gardening can be expensive, but it is cheaper than therapy.